The seawolf is an incredibly rare form of lycanthropy, where you appear as some sort of twisted experiment by a wizard. You are part canine and part seal, cutting through the waters like a dolphin and biting into your enemies like a starving wolf. There are several myths about seawolves on the planet Earth, though most consider such creatures a good omen. The Tlingit people, who call this creature a gonaket, believe it'll bring tremendous luck and wealth to anyone fortunate enough to see or hear its soulful howl. The Haida people even have a story about how the Wasgo, another name for the seawolf, has an undersea house that can sometimes rise above the water. Of course, Dungeons & Dragons doesn't believe in being blessed or getting wealthy just because you have an underwater seawolf creature near you. The game believes that you will get eaten by a monster if it is near you. So maybe sighting one of these is a blessing, not for you, but for the seawolf. The seawolf first appears in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Monster Card Set 3 from 1981 and was reprinted in the Monster Manual 2 from 1983. There are two types you might come across, the greater seawolf and the lesser seawolf. While both are nasty, shape-changing wolf-seal monsters, a greater seawolf can spell disaster when encountered in the sea, while you have a fighting chance against the other. At the end of the day, the most significant difference between the two is one is a lot bigger and stronger. We think you know which one is which. Seawolves have two forms, though their furry seal form is the most likely you'll encounter. In this form, they have a lupine head but the body of a seal. Fur covers the top part of their form and goes down their neck, their muzzle filled with canine teeth, but the rest of them is that of a porpoise or seal. Their alternate form is that of a wolfman, similar to the hybrid form of a werewolf. This form is like that of a large man, covered in fur with a large wolf snout and powerful claws. Becoming a seawolf doesn't mean you won't need oxygen to survive. A seawolf can remain underwater for up to 24 minutes, after which it must surface and breathe in that sweet ocean air. That will be way longer than you can hold your breath, so try your hardest to break free when you're dragged below the surface. Even if you manage to escape and get to the surface, you'll probably be far away from your friends as the seawolf will have carried you away with its impressive swim speed. Seawolves are not kind, benevolent creatures, as you first might suspect, from the real-world lore we just talked about. They are the complete opposite, as they are not just evil, but quite chaotic in their evilness. They seek out ships and water-based vessels. A seawolf pack will assume their wolfman form when night falls and sneak on board. They will proceed to kill whoever is on watch, steal their weapons, and slaughter the remainder of the crew. Since everyone is dead and the seawolf doesn't need a ship, the pack will sink it before swimming away. We can only assume they take a few prisoners, but that's only so they can inflict their curse upon them and swell their ranks. Suppose you somehow repel the pack of swimming wolves but were bit during the fracas. Don't fret, for you will not immediately turn into a seawolf or any other lycanthrope. To be inflicted with the curse of lycanthropy, you must have at least 50% of your hit points reduced by the creature biting you. Importantly, this amount of damage cannot kill you, so you don't have to worry about your rogue coming back as a zombie seawolf. Plus, if you aren't human, you're golden. So while you can still die at the hands of a seawolf, at least you don't have to worry about becoming one. If you are bitten enough and aren't eaten or killed, you will have 2 to 5 days before you turn into a seawolf. Though Wolfbane has a chance of healing you, along with a 1% chance of killing you. A Cure Disease spell from a 12th level cleric can also prevent your transformation. If you fail to stop the disease, get ready to hurl yourself overboard when night comes as you transform into a seawolf and swim off in search of a pack of fellow seawolves. Maybe the ones who transformed you are looking for volunteers. As with most creatures we discussed, we have good news and bad news when you fight them. The good news is lesser seawolves aren't that hard to kill. They only have 2 hit dice plus 2 bonus hit points for an average of about 11 hit points. And they don't have any special defenses unlike other lycanthropes. You hit them with your big pointy stick and they'll eventually stop moving. Now for the bad news. Greater seawolves will be harder to kill with their 9 hit dice plus 2 bonus hit points. They have, on average, about 42 hit points and are entirely immune to weapons unless they are silver, cold iron, or enchanted weapons with at least a +1 bonus. And most adventurers who have raided a few dungeons probably will have a weapon that'll work on them. We certainly hope you do, since they travel in packs of up to 16 and are intent on killing everyone and sinking the ship. It's probably best to never leave shore and go on a ship. That's our plan. Appearing in the 2nd edition Monstrous Compendium Volume 1 from 1989 and the Monstrous Manual from 1993, the Seawolf gets their chance to spread terror, destroy ships, and be a general nuisance of maritime activities. They are much like they were in the previous edition, with a penchant for murdering seafarers and being adorable seawolf monsters. In this edition, you should be wary of picking up shipwrecked sailors and marooned islanders. This is because they have 3 forms to choose from: a seal form, a hybrid form, and a human form. Yep, Now they are just like real lycanthropes, capable of passing themselves off as human before they morph into a horrific monster and bite your head clean off. Speaking of lycanthropy, let's go ahead and clear the air on that word, as were creatures are not all lycanthropes. Lycanthropes refer to only humans that can transform into wolves, hence the lycan part of the name. Lycanthrope is not a generic catch-all for humans that can transform into different creatures like pop culture might have you believe. The generic word is therianthrope. We say this not because we are tired of seeing the word lycanthrope used to describe were-tigers, were-boars, and others for which it shouldn't be used, although we are tired of that. Instead, it's because we aren't sure if a lycanthrope can be utilized for seawolves. Sure, lycanthrope could work for them, but it feels wrong. Anyways, now back to our regularly scheduled programming. The seawolf has a third form, being their original human form. They use this to disguise themselves, acting the part of a person lost at sea, someone shipwrecked, or simply because they want to sneak into town. Once the seawolf has gained your trust, or at least has you thinking they are essentially harmless, they transform and attack, brutally mauling and killing any other creatures that would dare sail their seas or take fish from it. We aren't entirely sure why they dislike sailors to the extent they do, but they do. This might be because they were once sailors themselves. A seawolf infected these poor souls, set they were making a living on the ocean. It's kind of a brutal cycle of angsty ex-sailors attacking current sailors to make more ex-sailors to attack other sailors. And we say angsty because transforming into a seawolf heightens all the negative traits humans once had while completely tuning down or removing all the good qualities. Seawolves still retain their memories from before the transformation, but it will do nothing to soften their hearts. They may even go back to their old home and kill all their old rivals and family, just because they can. This edition gives us additional information on seawolves and their reproduction. See, you don't have to be brutally mauled by a wolf-seal hybrid to become a seawolf. If two seawolves decide to get together in the biblical sense, you could be born into it. It's rare though, as only about 5% of all seawolf pups survive into adulthood, for the simple reason that seawolves just don't care about their babies. Once you are born, you are abandoned in the deep blue sea and have to fend for yourself, which is hard since you are a literal human infant during the day and a baby seal at night. Frankly, we find it amazing that even 5% of them survive to adulthood. We're pretty sure as human adults we couldn't survive a day swimming out in the ocean, let alone as a human infant. A seawolf and human can get together, and it's not unheard of as packs of seawolves may morph into their human form and party at a pub on land. If they don't kill everyone inside, they can produce children. Only a quarter of all these babies will become seawolves once they reach adulthood, though all of their children will have a strange yearning for the sea and will be quite good swimmers. If you are wondering how deep you have to swim to escape a seawolf, you're in luck. In Sea of the Fallen Stars from 1999, a source book for the Forgotten Realms that looks at life above and below the inner sea, we learn that seawolves have a maximum depth of 1,000 feet. Couple that with the fact that seawolves can only hold their breath for up to 24 minutes, and you can feel relatively safe beneath the waves. You just have to watch out for were-sharks. Seawolves may not be the most intelligent creatures in the Forgotten Realms, but they more than make up for what they lack in smarts by being the most cunning and relentless pack hunters. And they also live for 200 years, so you better make peace with living below the waves for a very long time if a seawolf is holding a grudge against you for fishing in their ocean. The last appearance of the seawolf comes in the 3rd edition book Stormwrack from 2005, a source book all about watery environments and how to survive them, what terrible monsters lurk below, and much, much more. As for the seawolf, little changes for them, which is probably a good thing. They are pretty cool as is, and they remain quite dangerous. Seawolves retain their 3 forms, using their human guise to trick others, but spend the vast majority of their life in their seawolf form. They rarely use their hybrid form, but will transform into it when they clamber aboard a ship and begin cutting sailors down for daring to sail the ocean waves. Despite how murderous they are, seawolves are social creatures. They don't like being alone, and so if there are no other seawolves for one to find, they will instead stylize themselves as a pirate, raider, or sea hunter, joining up with others for adventures on the high seas. We presume that once a large enough group follows them, they probably start transforming a few of them into seawolves, creating the wolf pack they've always wanted. In this edition, their curse is a bit more potent than before. You no longer have to get bitten over and over for half your total hit points. Now you just get bit once and run the chance of being cursed if you can't make a will save. It seems odd that their curse is based on will, not fortitude like all other were creatures, but we guess seawolves are no longer technically were creatures, but shapechangers. This fact is further cemented since you can break this curse by someone casting Break Enchantment or Remove Curse on the victim, even if they've been a seawolf for years. A normal curse of lycanthropy requires taking belladonna within the first hour of being afflicted, having remove diseased or heal cast on you by a 12th level cleric within 3 days of the affliction, or remove curse or break enchantment during a full moon, and making a will save to break the curse. So while it's similar, it's a different type of animal transformation curse. The last thing we do is get a new tactic for the sea wolves. Some of the Seawolf pack will hire themselves onto a ship as sailors, while in their human form, of course, then steer the boat into their pack's territory. Then at night, they kill whoever is on watch and help their pack kill all on board and sink the ship. Once they are done with that, they take all the goods and treasures on board and stash the goods away in hidden layers along the coastline. This isn't really new since they always seem to be killing sailors, but it's a good use of their past life skills, allowing them new ways of causing terror. If you're looking for a 5th edition version of the Seawolf, check out our website at dumpstadadventures.com and you'll find the Seawolf homebrew that we've created for use in your campaign.